The Vesperians lived on a beautiful planet called Neve. Their world had 3 moons and soft purple skies. But now, their planet was dying. The sun that once gave them life had changed. Harsh radiation poured down, killing plants and making the air hard to breathe. Elder Tavi stood in the round council room, his thin body nearly transparent in the fading light. All 12 council members looked tired. Their skin, normally a healthy blue, had turned pale from worry and radiation sickness. "The reports are worse today," said Tavi quietly. "The northern regions can no longer grow food. 3 more cities must be abandoned." Scientist Minu nodded sadly. Her 3-fingered hands trembled as she showed images on the wall screen. "At this rate, our entire world will be unlivable within 1 year." The Vesperians were not a powerful race. They were thin and fragile, standing only as tall as a human child. Their bodies could not handle heavy work, but they had brilliant minds. They created beautiful art and music. Their scientists understood the secrets of biology better than any other species in the galaxy. "We must try again to ask for help," said Nari, the youngest council member. Her voice was still hopeful despite everything. The Vesperians had been part of the Galactic Consortium for 200 years. The consortium included 27 alien species who traded and worked together. When the Vesperians first noticed their sun changing, they asked the consortium for help. "We have already asked 6 major races," said Elder Tavi. The Boldari said no. The Jith said no. The Juntari said no. He counted on his long fingers. The Krell, the Vox, and yesterday, the Thurans. All refused. The reason was always the same. The Vesperians were seen as weak. They had no valuable metals or energy sources to trade. Their only real value was their ability to make special healing compounds in their bodies. But even this was not enough for the other species to help them. "There is one more we could try," said Minu. "The humans." The council room grew quiet. Humans were new to space travel. They had only joined the consortium 30 years ago. They were still learning about the galaxy. "The humans have no large fleet," said Elder Pan, shaking his head. "They have only 5 colony worlds. How could they help us move our entire population?" "I have studied them," said Minu. "They are different from the others. They value things beyond power and resources." Elder Tavi looked at the dying landscape outside the window. He saw children playing in sealed gardens, wearing protective suits against their own air. "We have nothing to lose," he finally said. "Send the message to the humans." Far away, the human diplomatic ship Pathfinder moved through space. On the bridge, Officer June looked up from his screen with surprise. "Captain Sue," he called out. "I'm picking up a distress signal. It's using an old frequency." Captain Sue walked over, her uniform crisp despite the long journey. "Source?" "The Vesperian homeworld in the Neve system." "Vesperians?" asked First Officer Han. "The biologists. I thought they rarely left their planet." They listened to the message. A tired voice explained their dying world and how all other species had refused to help them. Captain Sue's face grew serious. "They're asking if humans would consider helping them evacuate their planet. Millions of people." The bridge was silent. Such a massive rescue had never been attempted. "The consortium really denied them help?" asked Officer June in disbelief. "It seems so," said Captain Sue. "Contact Ambassador Song immediately. We're changing course for the Neve system." Ambassador Song was a thoughtful man with gray hair and kind eyes. After hearing the message, he immediately called Earth. "These people need our help," he told the United Earth Council. "Their sun is killing them. They have nowhere to go." "This would be an enormous undertaking," said the council president. "Why did the other species refuse?" "The Vesperians are physically weak," explained Song. "They don't have military power or abundant resources, but they are brilliant biologists. Their medical knowledge could help humanity for generations." The council debated for hours, some worried about the cost. Others feared angering the more powerful consortium species. As the Pathfinder approached Neve, they saw the damage. Once green continents now had brown, dead zones spreading like diseases across the land. When they landed, the humans were the first visitors the Vesperians had received in months. Elder Tavi greeted them with tears in his eyes. "You came," he said simply, when no one else would. Ambassador Song looked at the fragile beings before him, then at their dying world. In that moment, he knew humanity would help regardless of cost or consequence. "We came," he replied, "because that's what humans do." The human delegation stepped out of their ship onto Vesperian soil. The air felt strange, too thin and with a bitter smell. Ambassador Song led the way, followed by Captain Su, Dr. Min, and 5 others. They all wore light breathing masks, not for their safety but to filter the radiation particles. The Vesperian welcome party waited near a crystal building. Even standing still, they seemed to sway like reeds in water. Their skin was nearly see-through, and the humans could see multiple hearts beating inside their chests. Elder Tavi bowed deeply. "Welcome to Neve. We thank you for answering our call, when others would not." Ambassador Song returned the bow. "We came as soon as we received your message. We want to understand your situation better." The Vesperians led the humans into the crystal building. Inside, the walls filtered the harsh sunlight into soft blue patterns. Despite their world dying around them, the Vesperians had made beauty from light. "Our sun began changing 5 years ago," explained Elder Tavi as they sat around a low table. "First the plants died, then animals. Now our people are getting sick." Dr. Min looked at the medical data on her tablet. "The radiation levels are already harmful for long-term exposure. Your people have been living with this for years?" "We built shelters," said Minu, the lead scientist. "But they only slow the sickness. Every day more of us fall ill." Captain Su frowned. "Why would the consortium refuse to help? This is clearly a planetary emergency." The Vesperians exchanged sad looks. Elder Pan, the oldest among them, spoke up. "We are not valuable to them. We cannot fight in their wars. We have no precious metals or energy crystals. We are expendable." Ambassador Song watched a group of Vesperian children in a sealed garden beyond the windows. They played a game with glowing stones, laughing despite everything. "And you've asked all the major species?" "7 of them," said Nari. Each one found a reason to say no. Too expensive, too difficult, not their problem. The humans looked troubled by this. Their own history had taught them hard lessons about abandoning those in need. "Show us what your people can do," suggested Dr. Min. "Help us understand who the Vesperians are." Minu led them to a laboratory where Vesperians worked with colorful liquids and strange equipment. "This is our greatest gift. Our bodies produce compounds that can heal many illnesses. We have developed medicines that no other species can make." Demonstrated by cutting her thin finger. A drop of golden fluid appeared. When she placed it in a dish with dying cells, the cells immediately began to repair themselves. "Remarkable," whispered Dr. Min. "This could treat neural damage, cancer, even aging." "The other species know of these abilities," said Captain Su, beginning to understand. "But they only see your people as resources, not as equals worth saving." Elder Tavi nodded sadly. "They would take our discoveries but not save our children." That evening, the human delegation met privately on their ship. Ambassador Song paced the room deep in thought. "We need to help them," said Dr. Min firmly. "Their medical knowledge alone could save millions of human lives. But to evacuate an entire species?" Captain Su looked concerned. "We're talking about millions of Vesperians. We would need every transport ship Earth has and more." Ambassador Song stopped pacing. "I've made my decision. I'm recommending a full evacuation mission to Earth." He sent the message that night. For 3 days, the humans waited while exploring more of the dying planet. They saw beautiful cities being abandoned, libraries of knowledge going back thousands of years, and hospitals where Vesperians fought to save their sickest members. The 4th day, the answer came from Earth. The United Earth Council had voted. It was not unanimous, but the decision was made. Humanity would attempt the largest rescue mission in galactic history. When Ambassador Song told the Vesperian Council, Elder Tavi's legs gave out. He sank to his knees. "You will save us?" "Truly." His voice shook with emotion. "We will try," said Ambassador Song honestly. "It won't be easy. We'll need to convert cargo ships, colony vessels, anything that can fly. We'll need to build special environments for your people during the journey." "Where will we go?" asked Nari. "We have a moon orbiting our third colony world," explained Captain Sue. "It's being terraformed but isn't ready for humans yet. Its radiation levels are actually perfect for Vesperians. It could become your new home." That night, for the first time in years, the lights in Vesperian cities burned bright in celebration. Their people danced in the streets despite the danger, hope replacing despair. In his quarters, Ambassador Song looked at the stars through his window. He knew the mission would be difficult. He knew some on Earth opposed it. But seeing the joy in those fragile beings, he knew it was the right choice. Sometimes being human meant doing what was right, not what was easy. 3 weeks after Earth's decision, the skies above Neve filled with ships. They came in all sizes: huge colony vessels, cargo carriers, passenger liners, and even private ships offered by human captains who wanted to help. The rescue fleet numbered over 200 ships, the largest gathering of human vessels ever, assembled outside Earth's system. Engineer Bayek worked tirelessly in orbit, directing teams that modified the ships for Vesperian passengers. "Their bodies need more oxygen than ours," he explained to his crew, "and the temperature must be exactly right. Too warm and they get sick, too cold and they shut down." Inside each ship, special living areas were built with the right air mix, lighting, and gravity. The Vesperians needed only half Earth gravity to be comfortable. Food processing units were programmed to create the plant-based nutrition that Vesperians needed. On the planet, Captain Sue organized the evacuation zones. "We'll start with the northern continent," she told her team. "The radiation is worse there. The children, elderly, and sick will go first." The Vesperians prepared to leave their world behind. Each person could bring only one small bag. Difficult choices were made in every home about what to save and what to leave behind. A young Vesperian named Lomi clutched a crystal flower as he waited in line with his parents. "Will I ever see our house again?" he asked. His mother knelt beside him. "No, little one. But we will build a new home where the air is clean." The first transports began lifting families to the waiting ships. The operation was running smoothly when Officer Jun noticed something on the long-range sensors. "Captain Sue," he called urgently. "A consortium vessel is approaching. It's big." Ambassador Song was called to the command center immediately. On the main screen, they watched a massive warship drop out of faster-than-light travel. It was a Boldari vessel, 3 times larger than the biggest human ship. "They're hailing us," said Officer Jun. The screen changed to show a Boldari commander. He had gray skin, 4 eyes, and a mouth full of sharp teeth. "This is Commander Kresh of the Galactic Consortium. You are conducting unauthorized population transfer in consortium space." Ambassador Song stepped forward. "We are conducting a humanitarian rescue of the Vesperian people, who face extinction if they remain on their dying world." The Vesperians. "Request for aid was reviewed and denied by proper consortium authorities," said Commander Kresh. "Your intervention is illegal." Captain Sue joined the ambassador. "With respect, Commander, the Vesperians will die without our help. How can saving lives be illegal?" "The Vesperians possess unique biological properties that are considered galactic resources," said the commander. "Their relocation must be approved by the Resource Management Committee." Understanding dawned on Ambassador Song's face. So when they were dying, no one cared. But now that humans are helping them, suddenly they're valuable resources? The commander's expression didn't change. "Move your fleet away from this planet immediately, or we will be forced to take action." When the communication ended, the command center erupted in worried conversation. "They could destroy half our fleet before we could respond," said Captain Sue quietly. Ambassador Song stared at the screen, thinking quickly. "They don't actually want to stop the evacuation," he finally said. "They want control of the Vesperians and their biological abilities." "What do we do?" asked Officer Jun. "We negotiate," said Song, "but we don't stop the evacuation." He opened the channel again. For 3 tense hours, Ambassador Song spoke with Commander Kresh and other consortium representatives who joined the call. All while the evacuation continued, below Song offered research-sharing agreements. He proposed joint medical ventures. He reminded them that the Vesperians had asked the consortium for help first and been refused. "Your species made your choice when you abandoned them," Song said, firmly. "Humans made a different choice. We will not abandon them now." The standoff lasted 2 days. The Boldari warship positioned itself between the human fleet and the escape route. 6 more consortium ships arrived, surrounding the human operation, but Ambassador Song had one final card to play. "We've recorded every communication," he told Commander Kresh. "Every refusal to help, every dismissal of the Vesperians as worthless, and now your sudden interest when they're being saved. How will this look to the smaller consortium members who might wonder if they too would be abandoned in crisis?" The myriad threat of political embarrassment worked where appeals to compassion had failed. The consortium ships moved aside, though they continued to monitor the evacuation. "They're letting us go," Captain Su said with relief. "For now," replied Ambassador Song. "But they'll follow us. They still want what the Vesperians can provide." Below, the evacuation accelerated. Families boarded transports with hope and fear mixed on their faces. They were leaving everything they knew, but they were alive. Little Lomi looked back at his world through a viewport as his transport lifted off. "Goodbye, Neve," he whispered, holding his crystal flower tight. The great fleet of ships moved away from Neve, carrying over 3 million Vesperians to their new home. The journey would take 6 months to reach the terraformed moon that humans had prepared for them. Behind the fleet, at a careful distance, 5 consortium ships followed, watching. On the command ship Hope's Horizon, Captain Su studied the star charts with her navigation team. "We need to take the safest route, not the fastest," she said. "We have too many civilians aboard to risk dangerous passages." The fleet spread out in a long line, with smaller ships in the middle protected by the larger vessels. Each day brought new challenges as the crew worked to keep all systems running perfectly for their fragile passengers. In the medical bay of Hope's Horizon, Dr. Min worked closely with Minu, the Vesperian scientist. They had set up a joint research lab where humans and Vesperians could share their knowledge. "Your body produces this healing compound naturally?" asked Dr. Min, looking at a golden liquid in a vial. Minu nodded, her thin fingers carefully adjusting a microscope. "Yes, all Vesperians make it, but some of us produce stronger versions. We can control the process with our minds, focusing the healing properties for different illnesses." Dr. Min watched in amazement as Minu demonstrated, creating 3 different versions of the compound in less than an hour. This could help humans with brain damage, help children who cannot walk, even fight diseases we have no cure for. "And your technology could help us build better homes on our new world," said Minu. "We are learning from each other." Throughout the fleet, similar exchanges happened every day. Vesperian artists taught humans their crystal carving techniques. Human engineers showed Vesperians how to build stronger structures. Children from both species played together in the recreation areas, creating games that combined their different abilities. In the main garden area of the ship, converted from a cargo hold, Lomi the Vesperian child planted his crystal flower in a special soil box. A human boy named Jin watched with interest. "Will it grow?" Jin asked. "I don't know," Lomi admitted. "It's never been off our world before, but I hope so." The 2 boys began meeting every day to check on the plant. Jin brought water, and Lomi sang special Vesperian growing songs to the crystal. Slowly, incredibly, the plant began to sprout new crystal formations. "It's working," Jin shouted when they saw the first new growth. "We're making something new together," said Lomi quietly. Not everything went smoothly on the journey. 3 months in, one of the older ships developed problems with its life support system. The oxygen levels began dropping in the Vesperian quarters. "We have 2 hours before it reaches dangerous levels," reported Engineer Bayek over the emergency channel. "The backup systems aren't responding." Captain Su immediately ordered rescue ships to stand by for evacuation. but the damaged vessel carried over 5,000 Vesperians. Moving them quickly would be difficult and dangerous. Elder Tavi, who was aboard Hope's Horizon, called for volunteers. "We need Vesperians with engineering knowledge to help fix the human systems." A team of Vesperian scientists joined the human engineers on the troubled ship. Though physically weaker than humans, the Vesperians could fit into smaller spaces and had better vision in low light. Working together, they found the problem: a tiny crack in an oxygen circulation pipe that human sensors had missed. "We can seal it with our biological compound," suggested a Vesperian named Pela. She carefully produced the golden liquid from her fingertips and applied it to the crack. The compound hardened instantly, stronger than any human adhesive. The oxygen levels stabilized and no evacuation was needed. When the repair team returned to Hope's Horizon, both species celebrated together. As the 4th month of travel began, the fleet received troubling news. The sensors on the last ship in line detected that Neve's sun had flared violently. The planet they had left behind was now completely uninhabitable. "If we had waited even another month," Ambassador Song said, quietly to Captain Sue, "none of them would have survived." That night, the Vesperians held a memorial service for their lost world. They sang ancient songs and created a beautiful light display that floated through the ship's main hall. The humans stood respectfully at the edges, witnesses to both grief and gratitude. Later, Elder Tavi found Ambassador Song looking out at the stars. "Your people saved mine," the elder said simply. "We will not forget." "We still have a long journey ahead," replied Song. "Yes," agreed Tavi. "But now we make it together." Outside the viewport, the vastness of space stretched before them. Somewhere, ahead lay a new home, a new beginning. And behind them, keeping their distance but always present, the consortium ships followed, waiting and watching. 6 months after leaving their dying world, the fleet entered orbit around a blue-green moon. From space, it looked like a marble with swirls of turquoise and emerald. This was Harmony, the terraformed moon of the human colony world Archer. It would be the new home of the Vesperian people. "It's beautiful," whispered Elder Tavi as he looked through the main viewport of Hope's Horizon. Different from Neve, but beautiful in its own way. Captain Sue stood beside him. "The terraforming was nearly complete when we decided to offer it to your people. The gravity is lighter than Earth's, perfect for Vesperians, and the atmosphere has more oxygen, just like your homeworld." The landing began the next day. Transport ships carried groups of Vesperians down to the surface. Human construction teams had been working for months to build the first city, with homes designed for Vesperian needs. Lomi and his family were among the first to land. When the door of their transport opened, Lomi took a careful breath of the new air. It felt good in his lungs, clean and fresh. "Look, Mother," he cried, pointing to the sky. 2 suns. Harmony had its own sun, plus the light from the nearby planet Archer gave the sky a second, dimmer glow. His mother smiled. A new beginning under new suns. Over the next few weeks, all 3 million Vesperians moved to their new home. The city, which they named Haven, grew quickly as more buildings were completed. The design was unique, a blend of human engineering and Vesperian crystal architecture. The buildings caught the light from the 2 suns and broke it into rainbow patterns across the streets. 1 year after the landing, Ambassador Song returned to Harmony for the celebration of their first year. As his ship approached, he was amazed by how much had changed. The single city had grown into 3, connected by fast trains. Green fields surrounded the cities where Vesperian farmers grew their native plants in the new soil. He was greeted at the landing pad by Elder Tavi and Captain Sue, who had stayed on Harmony as the human representative. "Welcome back, Ambassador," said Elder Tavi, his skin now healthy and glowing. "You arrived just in time for the Harvest Festival?" They took him on a tour of Haven. The streets were filled with both Vesperians and humans walking together. Some humans had moved to Harmony to work on joint projects or to study Vesperian culture. "Our biggest success has been in medicine," explained Captain Sue as they entered a large research building. "Show him, Dr. Min." Dr. Min and Minu stood side by side in a laboratory filled with both human and Vesperian equipment. On screens, around the room, data showed the results of their work. "We've created treatments for 15 human diseases that had no cure before," said Dr. Min proudly. "3 of them are already being used on Earth and the colonies. And human technology has helped us grow our food faster and build stronger homes," added Minu. "Together we are better than we were apart." Outside the lab, they passed a school where human and Vesperian children learned together. Ambassador Song stopped to watch as Jin and Lomi, now a year older, worked on a project with other children. "What are they making?" he asked. "A map of both our worlds," said Elder Tavi. "The old and the new, so no one forgets where we came from." That evening, a message arrived from Earth. The consortium had requested a formal meeting with human and Vesperian leaders. "They've been watching us for a year," said Captain Su. "Now they want to talk." "They see how well we work together," said Elder Tavi. "Now they regret their choice to abandon us." 3 days later, representatives from the 7 major species arrived on Harmony. Ambassador Song met them at the spaceport with Elder Tavi. The aliens looked uncomfortable, especially the Boldari commander who had tried to stop the evacuation. "The consortium wishes to discuss trade agreements," said the Boldari stiffly, "and to reconsider the status of Vesperians within our alliance." "We are open to discussion," replied Elder Tavi calmly, "but we remain partners with humanity. Any agreement must include them." As they walked toward the meeting hall, a small commotion caught their attention. In a nearby garden, Lomi's crystal flower, the one he had brought from Neve, had grown enormous. Its branches reached 6 feet high, and it glowed with inner light. A group of children, both human and Vesperian, danced around it, singing a mixed song with words from both languages. The consortium representatives stopped to stare. None of them had ever seen such cooperation between different species. "This is what we created together," said Ambassador Song, gesturing to the beautiful city around them. "Not just survival, but something new and better." Elder Tavi nodded. "Sometimes the strongest ones are not those with the most power, but those with the most compassion." Under the light of 2 suns, the children's laughter echoed across their new world, a sound that would never have existed if humans had made the same choice as all the others.